everyone, Ipsy here. Today I am going to show you how to make a leaf or sprout bookmark, which I made in my last video. For today's video you will need a hook. I am using an E-hook. If you're a newer, more beginner crocheter, I do suggest an H or an I hook. The largeness is just a little easier to work with at the beginning. And then some yarn. You can obviously do them in whatever color. I'm going to do a green one today, just because it's the color that they are. But I could see any color being really pretty. Do your favorite color. Do someone else's favorite color. Whatever you want to do. You will also need a needle and a pair of scissors. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is you're obviously going to make your slip knot. And then you're going to chain 40. Now, this is kind of whatever you want. So this is going to be the base of your bookmark. So if I chain 40, my bookmark will be this long. Okay? So about my fingers, with my fingers all spread out as far as they'll go. That's great. I think that's a good size. You can stretch it a tiny bit and make it a tiny bit longer, but it's really up to you. If you want to go 50 or 60 or whatever. So we're going to chain 40. Okay. So there's my 40. Now you're going to go back and in every stitch, except for this first one, obviously because you skipped that one, if you remember when you're turning, you're going to do a single crochet. So you should, by the end of this row, end up with 39 single crochets. After this row, it's kind of up to you if you want to. I just did a really thin stem. I thought that was cute. Went along with my sprout a little better. If you would like, though, you can do 2 more. So you're going to go to this end. That's 1 row. Go back. That's 2 rows. And then 3 rows total of single crochets. But I'm going to finish my single crochet row. You can decide what you want to do. If you want to do a longer one, or if you want to do or a wider one, I guess, or if you just want to do a small one. And I will be right back. All right, I have that all done. I just did the thin one. And now you're just going to, I always make a chain at the top or at the end when I fasten it off. Not necessarily sure if that's necessary, but I find that my finishes don't unravel very easily. So you are going to snip that off, and then we're going to put that aside. We don't need that for a bit. The next thing you're going to do is the tops of your little sprout. So you're going to do the same thing, slip knot, and then you're going to chain 5. 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to skip this first one that is technically on your hook and go to the next one, and you are going to single crochet. Okay. And then you're going to go to the next one and do a half double crochet. The next one and do a double crochet. And the next one, you are going to do a slip stitch in that last chain. slip stitch. And then you're going to chain, and then you're going to snip it off. You will want a little bit of an end on these, just because they will need to be tied or sewn on to the rest of it. Okay, so there's one of my little leaves. You could honestly, I think it'd be really cute if you just did one leaf. So there's one leaf option, just one little leaf. Or the last one I did was 2 leaves at the top. So it really kind of depends. I think both ways would be pretty cute. But I'm going to do a second one, since that's what the tutorial is. Okay, so slip knot. Do 5 chains. Skip that first chain. In the second chain, do a single crochet. The next one, you do a half double crochet. The next one is a double crochet. And then that last one is a slip stitch. Slip stitch, chain 1, and then you're going to snip it off again. Okay, and that is all of the crocheting for this bookmark. Pretty quick and easy. Not a ton of super complex stitches, which is always nice. And I love how versatile it is. You can do a lot of unique things with it. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is literally just tie in all the ends. So I'm not going to show all of that because I think it kind of gets boring to do at normal speed. But I'm going to show you a few tricks that I use. So this one, all I'm going to do is I'm going to find this top part, and I'm just going to kind of, weave it through the middle. Not really caring where I go a ton. So you can see it finally starts to show a little bit on that front side, but it doesn't really matter. Same thing on this one. And these are the ones attached to the bookmark right now. Okay, so you're just going to find a spot at the top, and then just kind of, let it fall where it falls, essentially. And you can sew them in longer if you want, or I wouldn't do too much shorter than that. That's a pretty good length. And you're going to snip those. Okay, and if you snip them close, you can't even tell that they're there. And that's the goal. You're going to want to not be able to tell that they're there. Okay, the next thing you're going to do, I'm going to pick the outer, if you look at this leaf, this is the outer thread, this is the inner thread, so they don't get twisted too much when you're actually putting it on your bookmark. So I'm going to pick the outer thread, and I'm just going to go back in that top part that we just sewed, and I'm going to do this one pretty close to the edge of the bookmark. Okay, so just kind of pull it a little ways. This would be the inner thread. Sorry, it's hard to thread a needle that far away from myself. Okay, the inner one, you're going to go a tiny bit in, which can get a little tricky because you've put other stitches in this area. Okay, and then you're going to want to pull out a tiny bit just to that other thread. Okay, now you can do the next one as well. It's just the opposite. So for me, I find this the best way to tie it off. You're going to do that, but then for the next knot, I go through once and twice. I don't know if this knot has a name. It is just one that I've used for many, many years, and I have found very, very convenient in crocheting. Okay, then after that, you're just going to pull these threads a little bit farther. Through your work. It doesn't have to be very much farther. And you can see my knot's actually right there. You can barely see it at all. And of course, you're going to snip those off. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to show that because I have the other one that I've already done. And then you might have to play with those leaves a tiny bit just to make them look nice. And then, obviously, but you're going to find a book. And then when you close it, you have a nice little sprout sticking out of the top of your book. Now, this is a fairly short book, and it does not go all the way to the bottom. So keep that in mind if you want it to go all the way to the bottom. Just really depends on what you're doing it for, who you're doing it for, all that kind of stuff. If you guys liked today's video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I hope to see you all soon. Bye.